Look to Saint Frassati. He's going to show you what matters most. And it's not success in this world, but success in being like Christ.
I was first introduced to St. Pier Giorgio Frassati when I was in college.
I feel like I've known St. Pier Giorgio Frassati my whole life.
I feel like I've known St. Pier Giorgio Frassati my whole life.
I went to Frassati Catholic High School.
In 6th grade, I was introduced to Frassati. My theology teacher had a pretty strong devotion to Frassati. My name is Donald Gurley. I am a graduate of Benedictine College. I work as a crisis case manager. I'm engaged to my lovely fiance, Lydia. We went on a mission trip to Rome. Bishop Barron is going to be saying Mass, and we're waiting outside the sacristy after Mass. And there was a nun standing there. She had told me that Bishop Barron was meeting with somebody. And she goes, "Oh, it's Pier Giorgio Frassati's niece." And I was like, "Oh gosh, okay." And he instantly became the second coolest person in the room, like when I figured that out. And I just got to start talking to Wanda. I was telling her all about Frassati and like how, you know, he's such a great example, such a profound example in my life. And she just asked me, she was like, where did you say you guys came from? I was like, "Oh, we came from Kansas." Her reaction, she was like, "How in the world do all of these 20-year-olds know who Pier Giorgio is, like in Kansas?"
My name is Zach McGinnis. I'm a seminarian for the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas. After graduating from the University of Kansas in May of 2022, I entered seminary, began studying for the Archdiocese of Kansas City, Kansas, here in Denver at St. John Vianney Theological Seminary. St. Pier Giorgio Frassati can be a great example. Something particularly about his service to the poor that has been impressed upon me is the way that he did it silently. So the way in which his family didn't know, the people that he spent the most time with didn't even know that he was serving the poor in the way that he did until his funeral, and all of the poor flooded into his funeral, surprising his family and his close friends.
My name is Anna, and I'm a part of Father Stephen's Catholic Pier Giorgio Frassati young adult group. And there aren't really any young adult groups up here that are run by priests. And so I saw just an amazing opportunity and a blessing that Father Stephen was going to give the young adults to spend his time and really teach us doctrine and how to live as joyful Catholics. There's kind of a stereotype that young people don't like the church and are leaving the church, but I think that's completely untrue, and it's so encouraging to me to see the renewal and the revival of Catholicism among young people in the US, and I think that you can especially see the fruits of St. Pier Giorgio Frassati and his prayers, because I have to attribute the revival of Catholicism among young people in the US to him and to his intercession.
I'm Father Stephen Sanguinetti. I'm the current parochial vicar in St. John the Evangelist. Who was St. Pier Giorgio Frassati? He was great. Io ho scelto quel nome, St. Pier Giorgio Frassati, per il nostro gruppo di giovani, perché è un santo molto vicino a noi, e siccome lui è morto soltanto con 24 anni, allora è un bel modello per i giovani. Se tu conosci la sua vita, cioè è stata una vita molto gioiosa, è stato un bravo giovane, pio, devoto, amante dell'Eucaristia, piaceva molto andare alla montagna, ci teneva tanto per gli amici, e poi un grande amore per le persone in necessità, e un grande cattolico.
My name is Jack Figge. I'm currently an MBA student at Benedictine College. I am a freelance journalist working in the Catholic Church. I've worked primarily for The Pillar and the National Catholic Register, traveling across the world. I love telling the stories of everyday Catholics. I got an email from my editors and they were like, hey, Frassati's canonization is coming up soon. We'd love to do a story about like how he's impacting young people and young men specifically. I started wanting to do more research. I started praying for his intercession. Something that really just stood out to me that these guys were drawn by was that Frassati was just a normal guy, just trying to live a normal life, but a saintly life. I just kept thinking, I was like, I need to do that with my own life.
Father Gail Hammerschmidt here in Manhattan, Kansas, at Kansas State University, St. Isidore's, a college chaplain, a job of mostly a young man's job, but here I am, an old man doing a young man's job, but young in spirit. My spirit is still young, and part of that is because of St. Pier Giorgio Frassati. So many stories of him late at night playing billiards and saying, well, if I win, we go to the chapel. If I lose, whatever, here's money. And he was good. He was really good at billiards. And so there they would go. And it's funny, too, because sometimes the priest that lived near that parish, he'd hear this ruckus crowd heading his direction. And he thought, Pier Giorgio must have had another great day at the billiards hall, because here they are to pray late at night. I feel like sometimes, too, here at the campus center when I'm in bed and yet all the young people are coming back around to pray. I'm like, glory be. Thank you, Pier Giorgio Frassati, for your influence and the way that you inspire young people to be like you, loving the Lord, loving each other, loving joy, understanding, the world is troubled, but in the world we have also the presence of our Lord who will bring us through those troubles.
My name is Addie Jo Raditz, and I'm 13 years old. My name is Benny Raditz, and I'm 12 years old. My name is Christian Raditz, and I'm 11 years old.
My name is Elijah Raditz, and I'm 8 years old. My name is Felicity Raditz, and I'm 7 years old.
What I love about Pier Giorgio Frassati is he loved God so much that he gave away lots and took his time to do lots for other people and not just for himself.
What I love about St. Pier Giorgio Frassati is he would always help the sick, and since he was part of a wealthy family, he gave away lots, and if anyone would need help, then he would just go and help them.
What I love about St. Pier Giorgio Frassati is he just always cared for the sick, and he just loved God with all his heart.
My name is Jess Bossel-Dua. I'm a sophomore here at Benedictine College, the greatest Catholic college in America. I went to a high school called Frassati Catholic High School. We really try to embody like 5 characteristics that he had. And so they're true friend, virtuous athlete, zealous student, witness to holiness, and servant of the poor. Pier Giorgio is a really good example, especially to college students, because he was so young. You don't have to be some super popular person with some great titles or high positions to like serve people. He messed around with his friends all the time. They hung out, they played pranks on each other, but they would still go to mass together too. Bring each other towards God, because that's like what actually matters. You can still have fun and be a saint.
The first holy card I was ever given of Frassati is him with his buddy. Like, he's standing in the middle and he has his arms around both of them and he's just laughing, like just in the middle of a big laugh. That joy that, like, you know, Christ brings to us was just emanating off of this guy. I remember there was one story that really stuck out to me. He offered up the train ticket to this poor person who needed it, and he had to like sprint to this meeting that he had in 5 minutes that he had to catch the train. And it just floored me. I was like, this guy, I mean, he's a wealthy guy. No one was, you know, twisting his arm to give him the train ticket, and he just did. People would ask him why he rides in the third class instead of first class, because he was rich, and his response was always, because there's not a fourth class, which I love. Like, just humble, super down to earth, and yeah, he didn't let like anything get in the way of just the person that was in front of him.
God made these rocks.
Frassati climbed just like me.
I like what you said classes because they teach me really important stuff about God. As an altar server, I like holding the plates for the Eucharist and holding cross. And I like seeing the back of the statues. God is good.
My name is Serkan Şahin. I am a Turkish Christian. I study music in Rome, but I am from Smyrna, İzmir, Türkiye. Benim Pier Giorgio'nun hayatına ve onun misyonuna olan katkım da bir hatadan, bir tembellikten doğmuştu. Çünkü bir gün Roma'da gitmem gereken bir ayına gitmedim. Çünkü geç kalmıştım. Onun yerine akşam başka bir kiliseye gittim. O kilisede Pier Giorgio'nun yeğeni Wanda Hanım ile tanıştım. Wanda Hanım ile olan dostluğumuz benim hala bugün Pier Giorgio'ya hizmet etmem. Ayrıca ülkemdeki gençlerin de onu daha iyi tanıması için Pier Giorgio'nun hayatını Türkçe'ye çevirmem olarak sonuçlandı. Benim hikayemden çıkarılacak ders, belki de biz Katoliklerin diğer inançlardan ayıran en büyük özellik, en büyük ayrıcalık, Felix culpa. Yani hatadaki ve kötülükteki iyiliği bulmamızdır. Ve o iyilikten ışığa giden yolu takip etmemizdir.
My name is Kylie. I'm from Colorado, and I've started OCIA class to become a Catholic. Since I've been learning more about it, I feel like that is something that I am missing currently, and so that's what I'm most excited about. Get baptized in the church, surrounded by, people that are going through OCIA with me, and, people who have shown, they don't even know my name, and they've shown nothing but support.
What I love about being Catholic is that every day we get to go to Mass and receive Holy Communion. And if you can't yet, then you receive spiritual communion.
What I love about being a Catholic is that it just feels true, and no matter where you go or what you do, the Catholic faith just feels true.
Our whole family got to go to Assisi, Florence, Rome, Subiaco, and Loreto.
What was one of your favorite things in Rome? On your trips to Rome.
My favorite thing, just seeing all the churches and the architecture, it's just beautiful. It's breathtaking.
My favorite part of Rome was the Pope's funeral, all the churches, and gelato.
San Agostino, St. Cecilia, and St. Catherine of Siena were my favorite churches because I have a very special devotion to most of those saints. I just felt like I could literally be like St. Frassati, I could literally be a saint someday.
My name is Franny Chaffee McClure. I'm a freshman at K-State. I'm Catholic, and I'm part of the community here at St. Isidore's. Saints aren't just people who do good things or are good people. They're truly putting their life out there for the love that they have for God. It's not just about setting aside the time to volunteer or setting aside specific donations. It's about living your life in a way that you are actively loving and giving of yourself throughout your daily life.
Even if you're not Catholic, you can find great strength in learning the stories of some of these saints. See how devoted they were, and it pushes you to want to have that kind of devotion to something yourself.
Things I'm trying to do to become a saint is probably just live my ordinary life to the fullest. I just try to follow my path that God has for me because we each have our own. So He made each of ours special, and you try to follow your own. By loving others that are hard to love, forgiving others that are hard to forgive, and doing small things for everyone, like just doing chores,
doing something that someone doesn't want to do, but then I take over for them.
With the young adult group, Father Stephen has approached me a few times and kind of said, here's a need that we have at the parish and specifically among the young adults that he wants me to do. So he asked me to help with the music because he learned that I like to sing. He also asked me to help sing at a Ignatian retreat that he held. When he would approach me with those things, he would come up so joyfully and make me feel that if I said yes, I was actually really doing something that was needed. A lot of people who are in leadership in the church are older, so calling young adults to that I think is very special and helps us play a part and feel like we're playing a part in what the church really needs, which I think is our desire as young Catholics.
I enjoy making different things. I learned to make a rosary as a gift. I make bread for people every week. It's an act of love. I want to put in the work and the effort for them to have something that they would enjoy and possibly wouldn't do from themselves.
I can't wait until I can finally be able to altar serve, and then I can serve him in the Eucharist and serve him on the altar. Just like how St. Pier Giorgio Frassati served him in every way that he could.
I like serving because you do feel really close to Jesus during that, and you're like right next to the tabernacle and everything. You're helping Father as if Father was Jesus and you're serving Jesus because you're bringing him everything. You're bringing him his gifts.
I've worked in like a crisis stabilization unit. So if someone's experiencing, deep psychological, emotional distress, my responsibilities are just being with the clients. I'll chat with them, cook for them, give them stuff to shower, change of clothes, helping and providing this psychological help in the very physical, food, water, shelter, doing it with love, doing it knowing that, these people were made in God's image. I pray before I get there, and then after I leave, I'll pray for the clients that were there that day. It's just right up my alley. It's all the work that I love to do. They're people. They have senses of humor. They have great stories. They have a lot of times just very, very tragic stories. And I was just blessed, and I found it very, very natural to sit and to listen and just to talk with them and to serve them and bring them coffee and do those little things.
Next year, I'm planning on entering seminary as long as I'm accepted. I filled out the application and everything. And yeah, it was just kind of a long period of prayer and discernment and falling in love with Jesus. It's something that Lord's kind of always placed on my heart since I was 7 years old. Discernment is something a lot of young guys and young women deal with. It's just a part of Catholic life. I prayed and I learned who he was, and he got to know me, and I grew in trust, and it was just, everything's been an invitation, and all we can do is say yes.
I grew up in a church that was, in a parish that was very modern, and in fact a lot of pieces of the liturgy that are kind of important to the liturgy were kept out. So I didn't really experience this ancient tradition of the church, especially Latin and, very beautiful traditional hymns and chant, until I kind of moved off to college and started visiting Europe. There's this long, beautiful tradition of the church that maybe the older priests had even experienced themselves, but then it felt like the church didn't think it was important enough to hand on to the younger generations, or that we wouldn't get it. But in reality, what I see with my friends and the young adults is that we are really drawn to these traditions of the church. And so it's kind of sad to look back and say, wow, we didn't have that. We were never taught it. Nobody was going to offer it to us. We kind of had to go out and experience it and find it for ourselves.
The Latin Mass, it kind of just feels like when you walk in there and you see everything's a little bit changed and stuff, it kind of feels a lot more holier than a normal Mass.
Even when I'm in the pew, I feel like that during Latin Mass, it's always more, Jesus is always more present. the Latin Mass. It's just a beautiful Mass. And like they have all the incense and it's just so reverent. Everyone's just like so reverent.
Just Latin is an amazing language. It's like one of the languages that the church traditionally uses in other places like Rome. And I think it's cool to have that here where we are in the United States.
Per crescere nella vita spirituale, per avvicinarsi a Cristo, ecco, e per la conversione, una delle cose principali è la preghiera. Ecco, perché è facile dire sì, Padre, dobbiamo pregare, ecco, però poi ci sono tanti ostacoli per la preghiera, tentazioni per non pregare, diciamo, che già sappiamo com'è il mondo di oggi, cioè molto lontano da Dio, ecco, però, cioè l'idea è di essere santi nel mondo di oggi, ecco. E però senza preghiera non ce la possiamo fare. Però tutto nasce dall'amore che io ho per Gesù. E perché amo Gesù e amo gli altri, porto Gesù agli altri, diciamo, perché altri siano santi, ecco, e si salvino.
So I picked up a devotion to the Sacred Heart about 2 years ago when I was on a pilgrimage in Rome. I hadn't really seen the image of the Sacred Heart in many places or even recognized what it was. And then all of a sudden when I went to Rome, it felt like every church I went to, every place I entered, there was a picture of the Sacred Heart. So I know he was just kind of following me around everywhere saying, you need to start a devotion to me. And I fell in love with the painting and just the visuals of the Sacred Heart. I started praying and falling on the mercy of Jesus' Sacred Heart, asking for what we need. To me, it seems like the closest I can get to Christ. Obviously, receiving the Eucharist is first, and then second is drawing really close to his Sacred Heart and trying to almost hide there like a little child.
I live my faith out in my daily life by going to daily Mass. We have a really good student Mass. We have 3 daily Masses here at Benedictine, which is such a blessing, such a gift. I like going to the 5:30 It's our student Mass, and so all my friends go with me. And I also pray a daily holy hour every day, which has been so good.
Adoration is beautiful, of course. The ability to sit there in silence and have that openness to talk with Jesus is amazing.
There's nothing extraordinary about sitting in an adoration chapel, but something extraordinary happens every time we go to visit him.
We have so many hours of adoration. Just come and sit with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. It's something that Pier Giorgio was all about, just catching a glimpse of the Lord present in the Eucharist. It's why he would inspire his friends to climb trees with him. Get up here, he's about to pass by. We'll be able to see him, we'll be able to see the Lord passing by in a Eucharistic procession. And he loved it. And what do we know? What do we even say at the Mass? Behold the Lamb of God, behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb. Adoration, it's nothing more than that. It's sitting in his presence, beholding him, contemplating him, so that when we receive him in communion, we have a deeper understanding of what's going on. He just wants to be with us. He just wants to spend time with us. He just wants to love us. He wants to be in our presence as we are in his presence, even if there aren't any words. So be not afraid to go be with him. Even if you have nothing to say or you feel he has nothing to say to you, just be with him.
You know, Jesus isn't calling us to be stale and unapproachable. Like, that's so anti-Christian. Like, we need to bring people and show them the joy and the love. And Frassati just hits it out of the park doing that.
Of course, here we have our St. Pier Giorgio Frassati bocce court. It's been a good place for community building. A little bit of a different game for us, so it's fun to play. I think St. Pier Giorgio Frassati can be a great example, particularly to the younger generations. Seeing a man who lives out friendship very well with the culture that we grew up in, which is much of a culture of disconnect, ends up drawing us in just to ourselves and thinking about ourselves more and more. He spoke about the pure air that you're able to breathe in the mountains. And in a sense, like the friendships that we're able to share, if they're real, if they're good friendships, this is sort of the pure air.
St. Isidore's, which all the students and everyone there calls it St. Izzy's, is an amazing Catholic community. There are so many opportunities for actually like diving into my faith that I didn't get to experience beforehand. And at Izzy's, we all love God, and we're here because we love God, and we want to share that and love each other.
The greatest compliment somebody could ever give me is that I've spent my life in trying to create a place where others could find godly friends. I'm now like 30 years older than he was when he died, and yet I strive to like let his spirit still live in me, even though I'm not climbing mountains the way I used to.
St. Frassati's sister wrote a book about the days when he was dying. He was in pain and suffering, but he kept trying to give. He had a pawn ticket and some medicine in his coat. They were for the poor. So one of the last things he did was to write a note. I want to be that brave and selfless. Like Frassati, to follow the example of Jesus Christ. To see that God is everywhere, not just in a church or in a chapel or anything like that. He's everywhere. Like taking time to go outside and just like even pray a chaplet or a rosary in honor of someone that St. Pier Giorgio Frassati can pray for while he's up in heaven.
God puts us in this beautiful world. God made the mountains for us. He doesn't need the mountains. They're just for us. Le montagne, il sorgere del sole, la gente che incontriamo, tutto è un segno della gloria di Dio, della sua bontà, del suo amore.
I got this holy card. It says Verso Alto, means to the heights. The place that I feel God the most is when you're up that high with nothing else around you. You're looking out at God's whole creation.
His phrase Verso Alto, kind of inspiring people to be great, was something that connects with a lot of people and certainly connected with me as a college student. I considered the call to greatness and the desire to be great. A lot of it was centered around myself. But going deeper into my own prayer life, my own relationship with the sacraments, and coming to understand the deeper sentiment that he had under the phrase Verso Alto of seeking greatness through his actions, not so much that attention would be brought to him, but through his actions, attention being brought to God.
Ben inanıyorum ki en yükseğe ulaştığımızda Tanrı'nın görkemi karşısında hayrete düşeceğiz ve sessizlikte kalacağız. Bu nedenle o zamana kadarki zamanımı beni şimdiden sessiz kılan ve Tanrı'yı öven müzikler yaparak geçiriyorum.
Verso alto to the highest.
There are saints all around us. There's nothing newsworthy about their lives per se. It's these people that are just responding to the Lord's invitation and how He wants them to serve Him in their life, and just building a vibrant community built on the love of Jesus Christ. There's an awesome, deep story to each of their lives, and that's been the most beautiful thing that the Lord's taught me. I just kept thinking, I need to do that with my own life.